Hi guys. There's a lot of talk about visitors and unique visitors, page views, impressions, these kind of things on the internet. And I think the more people get into blogging and the more people get used to online advertising, these terms are getting so much more important and valuable. So I decided to make this quick video just to explain some of these terms, just to help people understand what they mean and maybe to see the difference between them and understand the value that each of these figures bring to a website. We're going to be looking at some of the Prettyblog data. This is for almost a year. I think it's about 9 months or so. But that's not important. I just want some data so that we can look. So this is Google Analytics that we're looking at right now. It's a free service. If you don't have it, you need to install it. This is the only, well, not the only way, but one of the best ways to actually track your data and seeing what's happening on your website. So this is the overview site. This is like high-level data. This is nothing deeply dug out, or this is what you get faced with when you look at Google Analytics. So we've got a couple of numbers here that I want to pay attention to. So ignore all of the other graphs and all of the other options. The first one is visits. So a visit is whenever someone comes to your website. So if I go visit the Prettyblog this morning, this afternoon, and later this evening, that would be 3 visits. The unique visitors, on the other hand, will look at the amount of unique devices actually that comes to the site. So if I use my laptop to access the Prettyblog in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening, that would be 1 unique visitor, even though it's 3 visits. We need to take in consideration here that if I use my iPhone to access the site, that would be a second unique visitor, and obviously the visits would be counted under the visits. So unique visitors, it's actually referring to unique devices. The next one is the page views. So this is the amount of pages that someone looks at for each time they're visiting your website. So I might visit the Prettyblog 3 times a day, and every time I read 3 articles. So that would mean that there's 3 visits, 1 unique visitor, and that would be 9 page views just generated by my 3 visits and 3 times I look at different blog posts. The next one would be pages per visit. So this is simply taking the page views and dividing that by the amount of visits. So if you look at my case again, I visit the Prettyblog 3 times, and each time I look at 3 blog posts, that would be 3 pages per visit. Average visit duration, that's just the time that I take on each visit. And then the bounce rate is the percentage of people that go to a page on your website and they don't click on anything. So they literally bounce. They come in and they leave again. Percentage new visits is the amount of people that hasn't been on your site before. Again, your devices need to be taken into consideration here. If it's the same device, that would count as a returning visit. If it's a new device, that would be a new visit. The point I'm trying to make is that we need to clearly understand the value of each of these figures. And if I say that I've got 1 million visitors to my site, it might be understood as being 1 million unique visitors. Now, in the case of the Prettyblog, we can see there's a massive difference between the amount of page views, in this case 3.1 million, and the amount of unique visitors, only 400,000. So it's important to understand the reach of a website when they're quoting figures like visits, unique visitors, or page views, because there's a major difference between these figures, meaning there's a major difference in the exposure that you can expect and the value that you would get for your advertising spend, or whatever other reason you're interested in the analytics data. The next point I want to make is that you need to take these figures into consideration in the right context. Something like the bounce rate. If you measure the bounce rate of one site and another site, it would not be saying the one is better or worse. Because it will come down to how does this bounce rate fit into your marketing campaigns, the way you advertise, the way new visitors or older visitors comes to your site. So there's a whole lot of things to take into consideration. Even something like the average visit per duration. That would be different if you've got a majority of American audience compared to a South African audience, for instance. And that's purely because South African internet is slower than American internet. So by default, your average visit duration will be longer in South Africa. That doesn't mean that people are engaging more. That doesn't mean that people are actually looking at more things and that your site is better. So I just wanted to share some explanations to what those words and numbers mean, and just very importantly understand that these figures need to be taken into the consideration in the right context. So don't just compare numbers between sites. to determine which one is the best. There's a little bit more information at play. And in Google Analytics, like I said, this is the broad, high-level overview numbers we're looking at. There's a heck of a lot of drilling down and detail that we can go into. But that would mean that this video would get very, very long, and I just wanted to share this quickly with you guys. So if you have any questions about what I said, or if you found value in this, if you thought it's interesting or learned something, please post that in the comments. Maybe if there's some other questions, I can make another video to explain some other concepts as well, and give you a grip on how your site is working and what's important or not.